be a good student. And if there are certain attributes which are not that good, it does not mean that you are automatically bad. It means that there is a lot of scope for improvement and you could still be a good person. Now, when we compare students from the scientists or researchers, you will find that several of these attributes are also in them. Of course, there could be some curiosity, there are more observations, doing logical things, creativity, objectivities, and they are subject to skepticism. Now, students are not subject to skepticism because they are writing examinations. And normally, the examination will tell you how good or bad you are in terms of scoring numbers. But scientists are constantly subject to skepticism, peer review, and they are expected to deliver results. So they are doing research which is time based, cost based, and they are expected to do this thing. In fact, if you see, this is a circle. A scientist has to start that he makes an observation, questions, hypothesis, go forward for his analyze and conclude to make some new observations. Now, question is, who are the researchers? If you look within yourself, each one of us is a researcher. What I feel, anybody who has got curiosity is a researcher. Now, this researcher could be anyone, even you. When you were students and you didn't do homework, you develop an excuse. What should I tell my teacher? Something which I had not told yesterday or day before or before that. So you develop a new excuse. So it is one, your curiosity, and second, your creativity, which drives you to make a new research. So anyone who has got curiosity is a born researcher, and you can find them in your mothers who try to make cuisine every day very different. You can find it in the farmers who try to improve his field, agricultural yield, who may find it in the laborer on the work floor, who is also interested to make it better. Now, if I need to make research, what is research? So, research is primarily looking for new information, new understanding, and providing new facts. It is also used to solve problems or increase available knowledge. It tests theories and make observations. But most important of it, it makes you systematic, organized, and objectives because you are bang on your targets. So now coming back to the basic question, as I said in the beginning, research is not for everyone. Only if research makes you happy, you can go forward. If research does not make you happy, then it's not for you. So be very clear why you are for research. You know, Sometime when I meet researchers, very often I face challenge. I ask the fellow, what are you working on? The fellow will tell me some title of proposed thesis, what he or she is planning. But second question, why are you doing on this? They are not very clear because sometimes people will say it is something suggested by my mentor or my guide. But why? They're not clear. What is the implication of your research to you, to your institute, to your subject, to the society, to the market? I think these are broader questions we must understand. Also, we must understand that under each guide, there are n number of students. So your guide is trying to answer a bigger question with the help of each one of the students. So we must understand what the guide is trying to answer. Now, coming back to our country, why people do PhD? You will find there are several reasons people are doing PhD, which some of them may not be healthy reason, some may be healthy reason. Let us just explore why people are doing PhD. They are doing PhD because they have passed the master examination and they have nothing to do. So, because family must feel the child is studying, they go for PhD. There are students who are looking for cheaper accommodation, cheaper food, and other facilities, even bus passes in city like Delhi or Bombay, or train passes, because these facilities are easily available to students. So people are looking for these things. And very often people use the competitive environment of the hostels not to do PhD, but to prepare for competitive examination. There is nothing bad in preparing for competitive examination, because that is something very open and you should make attempt for, but not at the cost of PhD. So one, you have blocked a seat for a PhD, and second, you are looking for something else. And some people are waiting for the golden time. It could be the job, it could be the marriage, or it could be something very different. So people are waiting for that period until they get this thing. And one last reason, what I feel, there could be many more, that people have qualified the test for fellowship, and since admission to PhD will give them some financial independence, so they would join PhD. So I think these are not some very, very healthy reason why you should do PhD. But in case you are interested to generate new knowledge, that is welcome. So people are doing PhD to generate new knowledge. They are bothered by some issues which they want to resolve. That is also welcome. And there could be some challenges. It could be in any subject, any directions, uh, if you feel that there is a challenge which we need to answer. So I think last three regions are very, very interesting why you should go for PhD. Now just compare the dynamic two words, one with the stale water and one with the moving water. So standing water has got staled and it is no more good for variety of reasons, including drinking. Whereas fresh water is something which is fresh, good, and you can use it. So, friends, if you do not study, if you do not do research, you become stale. And if you continuously keep on adding knowledge, then you remain fresh. And remember, research is a very, very competitive phase. And I am not sure if you have heard the story Bose versus Marconi. And if you haven't, please Google it today. Bose did it first, but Marconi claimed it first or wrote it first. So I'll not tell you the secret, the story, because then you will lose the charm. Please look for it, Bose versus Marconi, and it only tells us that research is highly time competitive. You must be the first to deliver something, and there are cases that if you don't do research, then you are out. It could be imagine by the phone companies. You are buying your phones every year, each company will come out with a new model, and if they don't improve upon their product, like Nokia did not convert for the smartphone, they were out. You may remember that camera roll. Kodak kodak was asked to go for digital films, they refused, and now Kodak is out. So anybody who is not adapting to the new research is going to be out. So this is why research is more and more important. And then it's not important that you have achieved the milestone one. Milestone one is good, but then you need to remain in that position and you need to develop some new things, some better product. And that is where your research requirement would always be there. And then I would say COVID as an uncertainty. How we have won over uncertainty by planned studies, how we can go ahead. So we converted our smart rooms into digital classrooms where everything was done. We went for consultation, we went for entertainment, we went for shopping, all through digital mode. And it was just overnight because we were put into our homes and we developed a new situation. So research is finding solutions where you can win over any kind of uncertainties. And then research should have a purpose. Uh, it could be generation of knowledge, or it could be uh, uh, developing an application, solutions, or making a new products. And of course, when you are doing research, you should learn from the nature. See the design of the fastest train on the earth, the Bullet Express. Does it resemble from the aeroplane? And if both of them we compare from the natural phenomena, how birds are flying, then you can imagine that how the aerodynamics works, what can provide them speed, and accordingly, you should go for research. Now, I must say, a research career is a privilege. It's a highly satisfied job and it develops your creativity. You contribute to the human knowledge. You search for the truth. It's a fun euphoria of understanding something new, something nobody has worked upon. You are working, and that kind of euphoria, that winning over, that yes, we have done it. That makes it fun. And then, of course, you can constantly measure that what is the level of success. Because if you have defined the milestone in your research, you could go for those measurement. If you have achieved it, if you have achieved it partially, if you have achieved within time, or it requires some more speeding up. And you don't deal with several kind of stupidity which people in other sectors, for example, if you are working in police or administration, or if you are so you are not exposed to variety of other challenges. You are working in your workplace and delivering, focusing on the research questions. And that provides you mutual respect with your peers in a relatively non-competitive atmosphere. So competitive is only that you have to be first, but otherwise researchers across the laboratory are very good friends, working with each other, discussing, doing a lot of things. And then it helps you to see the world, get to know the people who live in different part. Remember, each part of the world is different, different in terms of culture, different in terms of cuisine, different in terms of infrastructure, different in terms of research at cultures, and how research is conducted. So when you are doing research, you get exposure to all these things and you can take it forward. And then as a researcher, you are guaranteed a upper middle class income. So financial pressures are there, but little. And of course, as you grow, you gain professional and social acceptance. So people start recognizing you as a worker in a given field, and then they respect you like that. And then, of course, you enjoy your independence. A researcher is free to work in any field of their choice. So they are not being dictated that you have to work on such and such. No, there are researchers, scientists working in government laboratories who have got such a mandate that they have to work. For example, we have to develop a missile, we have to develop a drug, we have to develop a unaided vehicle which can go to the depth of the bottom or bottom of the sea. So there are those, but most of the researchers, especially in academics, they are free bird and they enjoy their independence being a researchers. But if it doesn't help you, there are many options. And there are reasons why you should not pursue research. If you feel research is too narrow, and I want to paint a big picture, want more variety and more obvious impact, because what happens when you enter into the research, you are going deep down in a subject and you may not have a very colorful pictures. So outcome of research are very long term, and why I should waste my time in the blind alley, or if you want to become rich very fast. Researchers are not being paid very much. They are being paid decent, but they are not being paid very heavy thing. And there could be bad regions which could be corrected. So I'm not creative enough. This is something not very difficult. You or I don't want to publish. It's too hard to get a job, and I want to have a personal life. Everything is possible. You need to make a valiant effort. What do you need? What are you looking for? And if you could do that, perfect. So these are all regions could be corrected. Now, of course, when you are a research student, you are expected to publish. And when you are publishing, authorship plays a big role. So there are first author whose name appears first on any paper, and then there are co-authors. So first author give you ownership of the ideas, that you're making a difference, you're making a personal brand, and even today, as per the UGC guidelines, you are required to have couple of first author papers. Co-authorship paper are also important, but are relatively of less importance as compared to the first author paper. So it helps you in building your index, H index, and it shows that your work is still influencing. But if you are not good in writing, you should try to improve or choose career where you don't have to write. If you are interested in research, please feel it is very important, very necessary that you have to write. Without writing, you cannot. So either you improve yourself or you move out of it. So becoming a researcher means that you are getting developed like a tea who has breadth in your own research discipline and very serious depth in your research topic. So this will help you understanding. I think in next slide, maybe I'll just come little later. So I'll tell you how breadth could be adjusted, but depth is something very important, and you should be knowing how I am going to know more and more about the subject I am working on. Then achieving depth in your topic also means that you are owning your own projects. It's up to you how long, how deep you know. You are fully aware and understand what others are doing and how your work is different from them. And you are uncompromising on the fundamentals. So read textbook, take a class, understand what is all that is required. And now this I have made a design, this picture, basically from my own subject being a geologist. Now, suppose you are working in atmospheric chemistry. It means you need to understand not only atmospheric chemistry, but various dynamics that influence atmosphere. So, of course, your own subject you should know fully, but other subject could be relatively less. So you should stay attend the seminar meetings not only of your subject but also of the other subjects. And then once you have achieved something, you should share it with the world. And when you can share it with the world through presentations. So when you are making presentation, it could be your undergraduate student, it could be master student, it could be researchers. Sometimes you may be making presentation to senior established workers. So you should know who is your audience and what kind of pedagogical skills you need to show. You should show mastery of your pictures, whatever you are trying to say, make graphics and use language precisely. This is very important. Your language should be simple and straight and make audience comfortable, be engaged, relaxed, funny, answer question with ease. Don't get offended whenever you are asked questions. And then preparing a presentation is a lot of work, but it's time well spent. So maybe even for this presentation, which I am making to you, I took a lot of efforts in collating information from various sources, and then so it is critical to for your visibility. It drills you in fundamentals. You always ask yourself what audience could ask, and then it helps you understand your work, generate research ideas. Learn to ask questions during presentation. If someone else is also making presentation, you should show that you are engaged and you could ask question. It is polite. Don't feel offended. Nothing pleases a speaker more than to see many hands raising hands after their take. Not asking question could be rude, but if your question is pertinent to the presentation, that makes it very healthy. Think about the question to ask, because asking a question means that you are trying to know something more then the speaker has made presentation on. And so you should be very clear what kind of presentation, what kind of questions I should be asking. Another important thing you would be doing during your research is networking. So networking could be done through various ways. One, you advertise yourself through a personal website and tell what kind of research you are doing. You can get engaged with a group, other groups and visitor, and expose different way of thinking, different experiences, making two-way exchange of information, learn to give an elevator speech, and go to the meeting. Make sure you get noticed. So give a question, give a good presentation, ask question online, offline, develop opportunity for collaborations, and a small meeting can be more effective. Of course, you should also develop external collaboration. External collaboration means outside your own department. It could be within your own institute, it could be outside your university, but idea is that you should understand what others are doing and how their work could be of interest or of contribution to your work. Another important thing is seeking funding. As a PhD student, the first question normally would ask, have you got any fellowship? So because fellowship is both personal money and also some research grants. But if you haven't got, then you should write projects. And that is very important because not only during your PhD, but even subsequently, whenever if you are taking research as a career, to do anything, you require some external financial support. And this would teach you how to write proposal. So you need to help your advisor with the proposal and keep the proposal more and more interesting. And writing proposal is totally very exciting. You formulate your big question or hypothesis yourself and say how that you can answer those questions and what kind of literature review you would be required. Of course, as a PhD student, also you would be required to do teaching. Now, this is something very important because what happens when you are teaching to younger class, it could be undergraduate class or master class, your fundamentals get clear. You learn art of expression, art of communication. So be careful about what you are teaching, and it should be contributing to your depth or breadth. So you know what is your subject of research, and you should be teaching only on those things. And don't spend too much time of teaching because you should know how much time I have to give to my research. As a student, you should give 80% time to your research, 20% to teaching. Maybe when once you become teacher, this distribution could be little different. But today, when you are doing your doctoral studies, it is good to have some interaction with youngsters. So it helps you two ways. One, communication or expression, and second, getting fresh idea from the youngsters. And teaching should be defined how long you would be doing. And don't talk of teaching any other thing than what you are doing research on. Mentoring is also important. It also gives you a kind of understanding. When you are talking to a researcher or even a master student or undergraduate student, you will see what kind of questions the fellow has got and how you could answer. So you are developing yourself in the process. So undergraduate student will take time, interested, the interest could be different, and you would be expecting to do them fast. And if as a undergraduate student you can get published, it is something like gold. And then you would be asked to do review and write proposals or research papers or review proposals. Now this is a stage when you are in advanced stage of your PhD, where when you are writing papers, your guide would get papers or research projects for review. And you, as a young scientist, could spend time understand how others are writing, how others are expressing themselves, how others are posing new research questions. So this is a useful exercise which takes you to think through others' work. It's not something that you will get credit, but you get a better feeling. And as a graduate student, you can say no to requests for reviewing that you are not having time, but it helps you both ways. What is more important in research, to follow the ethics, the research ethics. So you should know the principles, honesty, right? In India has been criticized a lot for this particular thing, that we are not doing research as per ethical practices, and several of our results are fabricated. Their integrity is doubtful. So we must create an atmosphere, we must create a feeling among the global community that our research is more and more ethical. And if you have got a rival, it rival could be in your own laboratory, it could be in the laboratory next door. It helps because you want to do better than your rival. So it always helps. It takes you to the next step. So please look for that. And whenever you are doing research, when you start with the research questions, somewhere in the middle, you will find some more ideas, some more roads to work upon, and that may be more exciting than your original plan. Once you have completed your research, so research completion means that you have either developed some new knowledge, or you have found some solutions, some applications, or developed some products. What is that? It takes you beyond. And we are calling it valley of death. Valley of death is converting your research into a product leading to successful business. And this is where most of the research get failed. In fact, we have got a technology readiness level, TRL we call it, where we could divide it in a factor of three. So TRL 1 to 3 is research, basic research, what you are doing in the laboratory. TRL 4 to 6 is development or converting lab level proven thing, upscaling of them. And TRL 7 to 9, we are taking it to the market. So we need to see how we are going through this TRL level, and if required, collaborate with a fellow who is more experienced in higher TRL or different TRL levels. That will take your products much better. Then we need to bridge the gap between student, academia, and industries. So students are more and more working on technical skills, thinking skills, understanding dynamics, preparing projects, working with innovative ideas. Faculty, on the other side, is engaging with industrial professional, trying to understand their problem, and then giving it back to the students, developing collaboration, creative thinking, and developing new policies. Industry supervises how students are working, and if required to work in the corporate, then they provide that corporate training, they finance, and they share. But still, the bigger question is that there is a trust deficit between academia and industries, which we need to bridge. So there are several questions on, like, knowledge transfer, information sharing, how we could be more creative. This is something we need to work upon, find solutions, and it could be different for each industry or each academia. So it depends which sector you are working on and where are you working in. How government is trying to address is that government has started consultation with industry associations. So like we have got associations like Confederation of Indian Industry, CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM, NASSOCHAM, and we are in constant touch. Government is in constant touch. How industry could be helped? What is something they require? And like our prime minister has proposed one district, one product, which means essentially that if all academic unit, all industry, all financiers in a district focus upon one product, then they will develop a niche, and that niche would help them for in taking it forward. Government is also working on policy for that purpose, so that a better connectivity between government, academia, startup, small and medium enterprises, and industry could be taken forward. And then we are asking academia and industry to work together. Also, government is offering some tax incentive, even CSR, corporate social responsibility funds could be utilized for research. And what kind of research supports are available? So one is in terms of human capacity. So we are government is encouraging that each research project should have students. There are institutional infrastructure grants. So each institution could be considered for these research grants. And then there are competitive research grants. So faculties are writing research projects for the competitive grants. There are number of overseas fellowships and overseas research grants. So there are number of opportunities of various supports which could be available for pursuing research. But one thing I must say that fellowships are not jobs. So fellowship is a short-term assignment. It could be 2 years, 3 years, or maybe 5 years, but not job. And you should not compare yourself with fellow who are working and earning. You are earning IP, they are earning cash. That's the difference. But IP means that you can take it forward to a larger thing. So, what research can give you? Research is a tool for building knowledge and facilitate learning. It provides access to the latest information. It means to understand issues and increase public awareness, helps to succeed in business, to disapprove lies and support truth, to find goals and seize opportunities, and of course, it promotes love and confidence in reading, writing, analyzing, and sharing valuable information. Another thing is research helps is in taking informed decision making. So, be it I have just listed here several issues, uh, whether technology, infrastructure, demography, budgetary, environmental, it could be anything. So, as long as decision is based on certain information, that is what research contribution could be. And then, of course, it helps you in learning life in skills like confidence building, discipline, multitasking, value identification, problem solving, self determination, several things you learn. Also, it helps you to understand your world, where you are, what kind of challenges you have got, and how it could be corrected. It also leads to the personality development. So when you are sharing your research with wider audience, you are making yourself more visible in the crowd in terms of one domain knowledge. Greater visibility will enhance your reputation and impact of your research, which is increasingly important in obtaining extramural funding, and you would be considered a responsible worker in a given field. It also helps you in developing careers depending upon your ability, perseverance, reputation, leadership, success, learning, hard work, etc. And then currently, there are several new things which are going in the research scenario. Something like open science, which means that you will have access to all public funded outcome of all public funded research. There is a collaboration proposal to develop capacity development center where industry and academia could work together. We are There is also a proposal to create a development bank for science, technology, and innovation, something like IDBI, Industrial Development Bank. So we are proposing to create a development bank, constantly working through these methods for ease of doing research, putting more and more focus in technology development and their indigenizations, creating a strategic research board which could look for dual use, like what is good for defense, what is good for civilians, and then also looking for diversity and inclusion. So possible approach road, what we are looking for is harnessing and maximizing potential of technological innovations to focus on application of technology to meet sustainable development goals, economy of technologies, building capacity for sustainable development, investing in training generation next, and ensuring access to information. And then, of course, strengthening scientific basis of decision making and informing the public. Uh, what government could offer you? It can help you in presenting your work in international conferences or symposium. It can help you to support your postdoctoral work. It can help you It could provide you short-term fellowship when you are doing doctoral work. It can also provide you early career grants. As a researcher, when you are working, you are expected various kind of duty, which could be gathering data through samples, participant survey, or industry report, choosing appropriate methodology. So you need to, once you have worked out a question, then you need to work out how you are going to answer it. You need to develop hypothesis, test it, use various kind of research equipment and tools, running tests and conducting experiments, creating new tests, documentary observations and making results, and of course writing reports. That is very important, and then presenting results at conferences or to the stakeholders, and then if required publishing papers, and also go for different kind of IP protections. Now, in terms of career options, there are several options before you. One, of course, is academic position. So you will see several researchers would like to go for academics, but academic is not the only word. There could be researchers who are engaged in policy research, which means that you are working new directions of research where we should put more and more research, where is the gap area, what kind of support is required to be given for research. Or you could join a company or industry as a research scientist or research engineer, trying to work out what could be the new products, how existing product could be made more and more robust. And then there is another job which is quality assurance. Each brand, whatsoever comes into the market, they would like to maintain their name. So if you see a product coming from a particular company, you know what kind of quality I should expect. So they are critical of research scientists or research engineers, although both are research scientists. But while one's job is developing, the the job of quality team is to make a technical audit to see if user would be satisfied or not. So they also go by user experience. So quality team would be sitting within the industry. User experience research position would be spread over, and they would be taking day-to-day experience from the individual users. You could be a project manager, which essentially means that you need to see where and where one could apply. Each institutions are hiring such positions, looking for person who has a wider eye where researchers from that institution could apply. And then several companies are hiring technology assessment manager. Now these positions are when company are investing, that how after 10 years their product line would behave in the market. So what kind of changes are required. So these fellow would assess the future technology, say 10 years from now or 20 years from now, and would advise company to modify the product line accordingly. You could be a health economist. Suppose you are a biology fellow or a economy fellow, you could explore those positions. Besides that, there are a lot of scientific journals where you could have the editing position, because you are, if you understand that science, that particular science, then you could make decisive changes in the style a paper is being written. You could be an individual professional. It could be either in your own subject or in common areas like IP management or things like that. So develop yourself as a professional. You could also connect with the society. No, this is an area of huge gap. People are often ignoring it, that whatever science we are doing must be told to the industry, to the society, that yes, this is what we have done, this is how it is going to impact, and this is how you need to take it forward. You could also become a government officer, something like people in DSC, DBT are doing, that they end up in the government and trying to help in promotion of science. I think with this, and of course, the most important thing is that you can create your own startups. So these days in West, what we are seeing, each PhD must result in at least 3 PhD out of 3 PhD, two must result into two startups. So when you are doing PhD, it is basically that whatever idea you have got, you must make it market worthy and take up this thing. So friends, with this, I would like to conclude and I would be happy to take any questions from you. Thank you very much.
If you have any question, you can come here and ask. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing out your time from the busy schedule and for this lecture. I would also like to thank all the online participants who joined us in this event.
When you open the video, you can take a picture.
If you please turn on your camera, we can take one picture. I request all the online participants to kindly turn on their cameras so that we can take one picture. I request everyone to kindly turn on their cameras, please. Thank you so much. For today's event, we have another renowned scholar with us, Dr. D.S. Huda. Dr. D.S. Huda is a distinguished mathematician with a PhD from KU Kurukshetra and notable expertise in information theory and its applications. He has made significant contributions to the field through his guidance of 13 PhD scholars and authorship of 139 papers, 32 articles, and several book chapters. His work extends to statistical finance, survival analysis, and fuzzy information. He has held various esteemed positions, including editorial roles in reputable journals and executive roles in mathematics and statistics societies. Recognized globally, Dr. Huda has received numerous accolades, including awards from the American Biographical Institute and the International Plato Award for Educational Achievement. Now I request Dr. Manish Rawat, sir, Deputy Director, Directorate of Research, to kindly felicitate, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. D.S. Huda, sir, to kindly come up on the stage for his presentation.